let's talk about, let's go back to my team primarily. And there is a controversy going around right now, and it really has picked up steam today, that 2K is really hitting hard on loot boxes and bringing a gambling theme to 2K, to my team especially. This is a slot machine that actually is part of my team, right? Match 3 gems, you get this reward. You match 5, whatever. This is the whole thing. And then there's other things, right, that have a bit of a gambling feel, if you will. There's this wheel of prizes. You see my man Cash sitting here. He's look like he is definitely at Vegas. You got prizes there. You also have this pinball machine, which is now the new ball drops in Triple Threat Online. And you just notice things like color scheme. It is very Vegas-y. And don't get it twisted. This is done for a reason. There are certain, you got Gold Rush, there are certain things put in place here that are, I believe, designed to hit on those dopamine effects that get people like, okay, one more game, 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 right? Do I have, what? I'm trying to find out. Do I want to jump into this? Do I want to, would you want you to say,
All right. Well, let me give you my perspective real quick.
Okay.
So I played a little bit of my team last year, and upon playing it, I could quickly see how the pack opening thing could be addictive, right?
Yes.
Now, I don't have a gambler type personality. So I honestly have to get outside of my head a little bit and try to put myself into other people's shoes.
Right.
Because for me, in any video game, spending money in a pay to win scenario actually takes away the thing that makes me addicted. What makes me addicted is more grinding, right? So the Overwatch loot box thing, people are grouping all of these things under these blanket terms: gambling, loot boxes, but they don't all fit together very neatly, right? So the way Overwatch works is when you play, eventually your experience goes up, you complete a bar, you get a loot box, you open it up, you don't know what reward you're going to get. Now, these are all cosmetic, so people want to say, oh, it's perfectly okay. However, this is the problem with Overwatch. There's no way to go into Overwatch and buy the skin you want. So if you decide to pay for loot boxes instead of grinding, you can spend $10 and get the skin you want immediately, or you can spend $10,000 and never get the skin you want. And that's where the moral aspect of it comes in for Overwatch. NBA doesn't really have a similarity to that in that same sense because it has an auction house. For the most part, you guys can buy the cards you want. And because you can buy the cards you want, especially if you're grinding the mode all the time, right? If you're grinding other modes and you have VC, you can finagle your way to getting enough My Team to get most of the cards you want. I think it's people with addictive personalities that like the feeling of opening packs that are sucked into this. In terms of the adults, right? The adults and so and I'm not saying that it's not insidious. I'm not saying they don't have like neuroscientists in there figuring out which colors make you weak in the wallet. That's all happening. But guess what? That's literally happening in every commercial, on every food package. You know what I'm saying? Every sign, every movie trailer. They're all trying to program your ass. So I'm not going to single out 2K for trying to take advantage of the fact that you're weak-willed in a certain area. And that's not a criticism. We're human beings. We're all weak-willed in some area. This is just the one that we're focusing on for this topic of discussion. Now, the thing is it a bad gaming practice? Because they're talking about the optics with the whole thing. Their optics with the thing is that, oh, children play this game. Well, hold on now. Children got a credit card? Children work? Now, on the one hand, the way PlayStation is set up, the way Xbox is set up, your kid can't just push a button and you come home like, what? Fair enough. But as a parent,
that's one time.
One time. It got you once. It got you once.
That's one time.
And now fool me twice. Right? So my thing is with kids, that's the parents' job to regulate those habits. The parents got to get this game. They got to put it on the console. They got to spend the money for the internet and the electricity to have the console, the TV, or the monitor for the console to be played on, the closed door that the console is being played on in the room that they're in. Like, there's a whole bunch of security measures that they could go through before that kid is spending money on my team. So I really don't want to hear about the kids because I'm definitely old school 80s. That's the parents' job to control how kids are spending money.
Mm-hmm.
So we really talking about young people, right? 18, 19, 20, in that realm where it's like, look, most people that age don't handle money well. And this is a pitfall for them. And the question is 2K being responsible? Because I don't believe that if you want to have a community, you can make a product that says, I have no responsibility for the people that buy this product. I'm just trying to make money. That's what drug dealers sound like, right? So
First one free, homie.
if your stance is just you're slinging rock, what happens is you lose the ability to ask for respect from your community. Because that's not the way community-oriented games work. The way community-oriented games work is you check in and you say, is this respecting you? I am trying to make money, but I don't want you to be destitute trying to have fun with my game. I want you to spend some money, have a good time, and then have a life outside of this. It's not that I'm raising you, but I'm being responsible in dealing with you, right? I think that's fair. Otherwise, when you do something that they don't like and they come out and call developers all kinds of names out the side of their face, you deserve that because you try to take advantage of them. So now when they go on to YouTube and they go on to Twitter, you're not a person anymore. You're a villain. So it's a complicated issue because they're not supposed to babysit you, but at the same time, they shouldn't be trying to take advantage of you at every turn. So I'll turn the question back towards you as a person who plays this mode.
Mm-hmm.
Is their mode insidious or is it just a little too much?
I think the mode definitely gets gluttonous towards the end of the release cycle.
Yeah.
You know, I think the first 6 to 8 months of the release cycle with my team is legitimately fun, and you can
Mm-hmm.
have a good time with it. I think that it is very, very like I think it is very much overstated that my team is a play to win. I mean, a pay to win thing. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why is I don't think that it is necessarily pay to win. That's a choice, I believe, because I believe that there are enough, and there's actually even more this year, but there are in 19, there was enough non-pay ways to accumulate either VC or my team points to get the kinds of cars that you need to be competitive. Where the draw is when they dangle in front of you this really cool pink diamond or this
Mm-hmm.
really cool galaxy opal that you don't really need, but you
Right.
really, really want.
Right. Right.
Because the thing of it is in many instances, there's a difference of literally one attribute point between a
Right.
pink diamond and a galaxy opal. But because that gemstone's on there and you think that you gotta have this, then that means that this is what you have to have to win. And it's really not that way. It's really not that way because I played my team this year first without spending any money at all. I
Right.
wanted to see how good of a team I could get without spending money. And there were times when I played against people who had better cards, and there were times that I beat them. There were times
Mm-hmm.
I played with people who had better cards, and I lost. It was because they were sometimes, and if I played against somebody who was just as good as me and they had better cards, then yeah, they probably won because they had better cards. But I think it all comes down to a concept of how much time do you have to invest? Which I
Mm-hmm.
think, but I think that's kind of what it is with everything. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? I mean, if I'm going to play Mortal Kombat over and over and over again, and I'm playing against a guy who literally plays 60 matches a day,
Mm-hmm.
literally. you know, because either his work schedule allows for it or he don't got a job, right? When I get home from work and I play him in my 10th match of the day and he's on 57, he's probably going to be better than me because he's been putting in the time, unless my skill level is just that much better than his that even the hours don't match, right? So
Like me and you.
no, different.
Yeah, I can let that go. I apologize holding it in, man. I'm trying to be good.
Oh my God. This is why evil people will not prosper. but what I'm saying is, it's just like, you're the mode is either a grind mode,
Right.
or it's a spin mode.
Right.
That's what it is, right? And you have to make up your mind, how are you going to live in this mode? So the question that you're faced with is, do I have time to grind? Okay.
Yes.
If the answer to that is no, then do I want to spend? If the answer to that is no, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This
You're just
might
not
not be,
eligible.
it's not your mode.
I have a
And,
follow-up question, B. This is a
yeah.
question for you. Again, your experience with the mode more so than myself.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide to spend money on this mode, is it a reasonable amount of money for you to spend to get a competitive deck, or is it a, insidious taking advantage of you amount of money for you to get a deck?
Honestly, man, I really feel like you could. I feel like it's hard to say, because here's the thing, right? I could go and buy a box of, so this year 20th anniversary is gone and they replaced it with something called Prime Series, right? So it's going to be the equivalent of 20th anniversary this year. I could go buy a box of 20 packs and I might not get anything out of it. And I could use VC to do it, that I actually bought or I accumulated in some other mode, right? Or I could just accumulate the amount with my team points. My point in saying that is, there is a path to doing whatever you want without spending any money at all. Because if I say, you know what, I'm going to generate enough my team points, I'm just going to grind, I'm going to get these my team points. You can go and buy a card off of the auction block, or you can buy packs. You can set up a budget. Like I had this concept, man, and I may put it back out, right? Where how you can get the type of team, you have to manage your my team assets the same way you would manage an actual bank account. That's the most effective way to play if you don't want to spend. And then, to be honest with you, it's actually kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so say for instance, if I say for every 100,000 my team points that I accumulate, I'm going to save 10% of those, and those are going to go towards packs. Another 30% of that, or 20% of that, is going to go to the auction block, and I'll get whatever I can get from there. And the other amount I'll keep. And this, or you can just distribute, like, so you can set up a point and say, once I get to this amount of my team points, I'm going to then go get packs. I'm going to take a certain percentage and go for packs, which there's a different rate. You get more if you do it with VC, but then again, whatever. But, and then I can say, oh, this other half I'm going to use on auction block, because this ensures me of getting certain types of cards, right? So that was in 19, when there wasn't as many rewards as there are now. Now you get daily login bonuses.
Right.
Now
Yeah, you're just showing up, you get stuff.
Just showing up, you get stuff. So I really don't think that it's the way it's portrayed. Can you accelerate your team by paying money? Absolutely. But it's not the only path. And a lot of people just totally like, if you don't pay no money, you can't compete. That's not true. If you don't have the time and the patience to build your team in a way, this is life, man.
And honestly,
yeah.
I was going to say, I think part of the reason is my team is, and no offense to my team players, but for a large segment of the my team crowd, skill isn't the premium
No,
currency of the
they want
mode.
the cool card, man.
Yeah, like I played my team. I won every game I played, and they had better cards, and they were just bad 2K players. Like they were really, really bad. You
Yeah.
could tell they spend all their time acquiring cards, not a lot of time playing them, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, skill does make a difference, though. In all of these modes, all of the loot box stuff you want to talk about, most games, it makes a difference. Because, for instance, one of the things people complain about is having to spend money on, my career characters. And I made an alternate account to see if I needed to spend money on my career characters, if I could get somebody to like a 90 with just starting it from scratch. How hard would it be? How much would it take? And what I found was with roughly 35,000 VC, you had enough to put into a character to play the mode, and it wasn't really very hard, right? Like
Mm.
I made 390s on that account. I think 291s in the 90. One of them was a 6'2 slasher. Um, between Park and my career, it wasn't hard. But it's because I, by the time I made that account, I knew how to play 2K19.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't struggling with it. Like the things you heard in the beginning of the year, pro is too hard and stuff like that, it was ridiculous by the middle of the year. So if pro is hard for you, then you need to break out $30, $40 worth of VC to boost your character to an 80 something, 85 in order to make the mode playable. Whereas if you really, really know how to play and you just put all your stuff into post scoring or all your stuff into ball handle, if you have a pure playmaker, that's enough for you to tear the mode up,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not, it doesn't cost a lot of VC to do that. And you'll win games, you'll have fun, and you just grind the character. And the thing is, there's a threshold between how much VC gets you, and then at that point where you still have to grind. And I imagine my team is the same way, where VC can only take you so far. Now you have to play games and grind the mode.
Yeah. I mean, because dude, you can have a team full of Galaxy Opals, but if you can't play, you're gonna lose.
Right. Right. So at some point you have to play the game and acquire skill to get a rewarding experience when you actually play the game. So I think it comes from both sides, but people want to point the finger at 2K without taking any responsibility. I
Yeah.
do think 2K needs to be held accountable to make sure that their stuff is ethical, and the community should let them know. For instance, I feel like the prices of basically everything in except for clothes in my career was too high. Right? The bike was too high, the megaphone was too high, the
The
skateboard,
football. Oh my
football,
God.
skateboard, it was all too high. And guess what? Nobody bought that crap. And so
And
this
you
year
know what?
they
And it
revised
ain't
the
it.
model.
And and I can't say that enough, man. The way to change something in business is not always to cry and whine about it. It's to simply not buy it.
Yeah.
It's just to simply not buy it. And so many people like you're in my team complaining about the cost of packs, but you literally spend $75 a week on packs.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's crazy. And Designs R Us says that it's a reason they put Cash and LSK in the trailer. They spend hundreds on packs. Let me let you in on something, bro. They don't. And if they do, the only reason they do that is so that they can have packs to open for pack opening videos.
Yeah, it's just work. That's just
It's
work
just
costs.
it's just work costs, man. They can get any card they want to get. Okay. And they don't have to grind for the card. Okay. So they didn't put them in the trailer because they spent a lot of money on packs and they trying to pay them back for all the pack money that they spent. No, they put them on the trailer because those guys have a ginormous following
Yeah.
and they're very influential, which is why they're called influencers.
Mm-hmm.
And people, dude, I've walked down the street with Cash. You cannot walk down the street with Cash without a child going, "Oh my God, that's Cash Nasty." Okay, I've walked down. I've been around him multiple times. Children love him. I'm talking
Yeah.
about all races. All
Let me tell you something.
they love him.
The evolution of Cash Nasty is one of my favorite
It is
2K storylines
insane.
out
It's
of everything. So
insane.
awesome.
It's insane, man. I remember when Cash started, he was called Mr. Whatchamacallit.
Uh-huh.
And he knows this. We had this conversation. We used to have a little tiff, but he took a video off my channel and
Uh-huh.
uploaded it on his channel. And he did it once, and I was like, okay, I didn't like that. Then he did it again, and so we had a conversation about it. But the guy has grown so much as a human being, as an
Yeah.
individual. like he literally is one of my favorites now because the maturation and the growth and what he has built, I have the utmost respect for. The utmost respect. That dude, and if you know like a little bit about like what he comes from and that you know, so he's not in the trailer because he spends a lot of money on packs. He in the trailer because he built an audience that is freaking real. You know,
So,
it's
and I
real.
think Cash Nasty is a great example, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cash Nasty is what you want from your community. A person who interacted with the game, grew along with the game, became an example to your community, and somebody that you can actually use to endorse the game. Everybody wins. Cash Money has money. He gets to play the game. He has a lot of fun doing his thing. 2K has money. They get to make the game and profit off of what they got. And this is a reason why. And this is me and you have had this disagreement before. I don't think it's just as simple as if you don't like the mode, boycott it, don't spend your money, they'll reform it. I think that is true. I'm not saying that's not true. But I also think there's room for, I want to continue a relationship with you. I want to support the game, but don't take my support as complete satisfaction. As a participating member of the community who is spending money and wants to spend more money, here's my list of changes I'd like to see.
Absolutely.
Do you
Absolutely.
want me to completely abandon your game and go play Apex Legends until you change? Or do you want me to have a dialogue with you as I'm still a part of the community
No, I
and
agree.
saying, I'm dealing with the problems, but this is what I'd like you to fix? I think what the problem happens when people get too whiny and too entitled, and they get to the point where all they do is go on Twitter and bitch and moan about 2K. Meanwhile, they blowing their whole paycheck on my team, and it's like you're not helping.
Man, I had a guy tell me straight face, but he kind of whispered it because I think as it was coming out of his mouth, he felt guilty about it. YouTuber, I don't know if he still's a YouTuber. I'm not gonna say his name. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he said, "Man, I spent $1,000 a month easy on Ultimate Team because he was a Madden guy." Literally, he told me this is a grown man with a wife, and he said he spends $1,000 a month easy on Ultimate Team. I understand Mike Tyson spending $40,000 in weed a month more than I understand somebody spending $1,000 a month on Ultimate Team because at least Mike smoked what he got.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, and I think that you said something that I think is very very accurate. You said earlier that this the people who struggle with this are people with addictive personalities.
Correct.
People used to hate going to the boat with me, right? You know,
Hmm.
so the anybody from the Midwest knows
I
what
know
I
what you
mean
mean.
when I say the
Hmm.
boat, right? Um,
My
and
year in St. Louis comes back.
yes, yes. So they would hate going to the boat with me, right? Because I did something called left pocket, right pocket gambling, right? So I would go to the boat and I say, what's in my left pocket is what I'm willing to gamble. So whether it was $50, $100, $150, whatever it was. And I said, once the money that is in my left pocket is gone, so here's what I'm doing. Whenever I win, goes in my right pocket, right? But once the money in my left pocket is gone, I don't care how much I won.
Hmm.
I'm not gambling
No.
anymore with what's in the right pocket. I will
Hmm.
literally go and sit at the door and wait for y'all to finish. But I'm done. So if I come out, I'm gonna come out either the lower the most I can be in the hole is what is with what was ever in my left pocket.
Right,
So
and
if I
which is
said
what you paid to have a good time.
that's what I paid to have a good time, and that's what I
Hmm.
agreed to give to pay that. So, but if you don't have that level of discipline, I do have a problem with people putting the onuses on a business whose objective is to make money to look out for you because you lack self-control.
I totally agree with you. And here's where, again, I've had some words for 2K. I've had some words for fans here, but I
Mhm.
think there's a really big misconception when they say gambling.
Yes.
RNG, random number generation, random rewards, is not the same as gambling.
Mhm.
When you go to the boat, you are taking money that has value and you are spending that money, possibly getting nothing and possibly getting something. When you play these games, 2K, Overwatch, all of this stuff, you're getting something. You just might not be getting exactly what you want. The modes aren't gambling in the same way that betting on sports is gambling, in the same way that putting money in a slot machine is gambling. It may have the visual imagery of that, and there's few words I hate more right now than optics, right? Optics is, this ain't the thing, it's how everybody feels about the way the thing looks.
And you know what? And I totally feel you,
Yeah,
but it as a business, people have to adhere to the backlash that comes from optics.
I understand that, but we talked about morality a little bit today.
Yep.
The people who are discussing these optics are
Mhm.
discussing them without any concern for what's actually happening. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
they just want to feed into the controversy, and bad optics is hours worth of material.
Hmm.
And that's how you making money.
Hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? You're pointing the finger at people that have some practices that might need some reform, it might need some fixing. But you're a hustler too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And I don't
Mhm.
I don't respect it. I
Yeah.
don't, you know what I'm saying? Because you're being phony while you do it. It's one thing if you like, hey, I'm just on my hustle. Here's today's controversy. I don't know nothing about this, but here's what they're talking about. Those people I respect. But people who are like, this is wrong, and you're virtual signaling because it looks like a slot machine now. Wah. Like,
Wah.
wah, wah. It looks like a slot machine. Wah. Like, let's talk about what's actually right and wrong with the mode. But calling it gambling outright, I don't think it's accurate because it's not a situation where you get nothing out of it. You're getting currency that you can use at the auction house to get the card that you want in most
Yeah.
cases. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, it's I mean, the only cards you can't get at the auction house are reward cards,
Yeah.
and the only way you can get the reward cards is grinding.
Right.
So every card that you could buy, you could grind and get and buy out straight out. So it's
Mhm.
really about your self-control. And people say, people, that you said you hate this term optics. You know what? You know the term I hate the most, and I would say it's the most misapplied: predatory tactics. That is the stupidest thing I've heard. Who am I preying on?
You
Who
all right? You know what it is, B? I'll tell you what it is. Like, and I work in this field.
Okay.
We communicate according to a lot of symbols that resonate with us. It's the same way music makes us move, right?
Mhm.
But we understand it with music because it's a direct emotional relationship. When it comes to things like artwork and like sound effects and the timing of certain imagery, we're not as developed in that language, but that language is still effective on us. And because you're not developed on that language, this goes back to Goebbels and World War II. Not going to get too deep, but when you are aware of the messages that you're receiving, the messages can, I don't want to say program you, but they can influence you to a greater level than when you are aware. So if I tell you somebody is using predatory tactics and you're saying, oh, I need to be aware of them trying to hustle me, that's all you need. And now you have the tools to go back to having self-control. But as a human being, there are certain things that you are hardwired to receive messages and respond to these things, that if I just continually try to be slick, I can hustle you out of some stuff. And it's not just about discipline, it's not just about self-control, it's just how we're programmed.